Alright guys, we're back again. Lots going on again. We've got about 5 days left for race week. We're probably going to end up leaving Saturday night, staying down there in a hotel, and then coming to the track early Sunday morning to get through tech and everything else. But I've been busy regardless on both the shop stuff and preparations for Rocky Mountain Race Week. So here's what we've done so far. Alright, to start with, we did get the lift uprights lifted up. They're temporarily, well, permanently bolted in place with a few bolts. I've got to get more hardware because I used a lot of it for the foundations that I poured underneath there to stabilize all the all thread that I put into the ground. You can see them here. So there were 6 all threads I put 3.5 foot long on each side. And I buried that in the concrete, so there's about 1 yard in concrete underneath each one of these, 3.5 foot down. I know you can just secure it with concrete anchors, but I do have that 9,000 pound truck with the Cummins in it, and I just wanted to make sure that that thing wasn't going anywhere no matter what I stick on it. It's an 11,000 pound lift, so if I do get it loaded up, I definitely don't want it shifting or moving around. So that's what I did. It was an opportunity to do it. I knew where I wanted to lift, so I went ahead and did it. On the trailer, you'll see we got our fuel jug container holders mounted up. So they're all bolted in. I've got some silicone I still need to do to kind of seal that up to make sure we don't get any rain or anything in the holes. I did get some 2x2 steel tubing. You can see it there. I'm going to end up welding that down to the tongue and bracing it to mount the spare tire to and secure these cans with the cable. So that's coming along. In the rear, I've got some of the boards cut for the shelf. You'll see them there, they're ready to go. I did get a bunch of plywood today. This is 3/4 inch plywood. Once I frame out the mezzanine over here on the top, I'm gonna use that for decking up there as well. So I went ahead and got an extra sheet to build the trailer shelf out of. That way I have a little bit more opportunities for storage. There's all the stuff I'm accumulating so far that has to go with us on race week. Toolboxes are getting packed. We're over here on the car. We've got it jacked up. I'm putting the 275 tire on there rather than the 315/60. I've got one of them done. You can see the difference in them. This is the 315/60 R15. That's a 275/60 R15. It's like a baby tire compared to these things. These are pretty big. So switching over to those, I don't need all this meat on the prep track, so we're going to go down to the 275s. Clean up some of the stuff under here. Lots of brake dust and things like that. You can see my adjustable springs there. I'm going to go ahead and lower the rear of the car down quite a bit because the 275 has a lot more clearance availability. So we'll lower the rear of the car down. Kind of tuck those 275s in nicely. I'm not going to go too low because I do still have to drive this throughout the week, you know. There's going to be entrance ways and stuff that I want to be able to do. One of the things we didn't really talk about is this hitch setup. So I got it from E-Trailer. It's actually made by Kurt. You see it's rated for 2,000 pounds. But it bolts up in here really nicely. Uses existing holes in the frame rails. You can see it there. You have to thread some bolts through some of the openings. And they'll come out and you secure it with a bunch of nuts there. But it's really secure. I like it. It fits pretty neatly underneath there. And you can see it kind of matches some of the contour of the car a little bit. Got a secure lock on there so that we can lock our hitch lock or ball into place. On the trailer side, I also have a tongue lock for that as well, so when we stay overnight, we don't have to worry about someone coming and just pulling the whole trailer off and running off with all our gear. So we're gonna go ahead and continue changing this out. This one's still got to come apart. I have a homemade / Harbor Freight adjusted redneck engineered bead breaker here that I use all the time, and it had to extend it, you can see, about 8 inches for these stinker wheels and tires, but it works pretty good. So gotta go ahead and swap these out. Torque down the bead ring on that one. swap out on this one. Once we get done, we'll check back in. All right, real quick, just a quick side-by-side comparison. So you have a 28 versus a 30-inch tall tire, and you have a 315 tread width versus a 275. You can see how much this one gets pulled back on the from the rim or wheel lip to the tire sidewall. This one has a lot more sidewall bulge. Just a huge difference in tires. I mean, the tread width alone. Contact patch for this is, you know, somewhere in here. It's another, you know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches almost. But cool comparison. All right, we got it sitting on the 275s now. I didn't lower it all the way back down because I want to compensate for some tongue weight of the trailer. So it's still sitting up a little bit. I could really, with the 275, it can tuck it completely, so you could lower it down, I mean, all the way another couple inches if you really wanted to. But it looks fine. I think it's kind of leveled out a little bit. Still a lot of gap there if we need it, but like I said, I wanted to compensate for the tongue weight of the trailer just to make sure that we didn't get too low. And we couldn't hit any of the approach angles or anything on where we're traveling. So I think that's a safe height. Of course, the plan would be to throw these 19 inches on the rears. These are 19 by 11s with a 325/30 ZR15 tire on them, or ZR19 tire, sorry. Those are Firestone Firehawks, just, you know, some cheap treaded tires, so if we get caught in rain or whatever, we're not running on the drag radials. So the plan would be to put those on. I may leave these on if we get some good weather. And if we start to see like maybe there's a potential of rain or something like that, I may swap over. These should last, you know, 3,000 miles or so, less with the burnouts and at the strip maybe, but plenty for Rocky Mountain Race Week, which was what they were bought for anyway. So we'll see how it goes. I'll debate whether or not when we get a little closer, whether or not I switch to the 19s or leave these on for now and pack the 19s in the trailer. But we'll see. I got some stuff moved in. Obviously I don't have power in the shop yet, so I brought the generator out from my dad's. I've got a lot of stuff I'm storing out there right now. I've got actually 2 enclosed trailers full of crap until we finished out this. I'd like to hold off on bringing some other stuff in yet until we get the electrical ran, just so we don't have you know, stuff in front of the walls. Went and grabbed my other argon bottle there, the mix bottle for I can run some MIG. I've typically been using TIG a lot lately, so I haven't had that bottle on there. And I got some little cheesy cart and the 2 big bottles that it can't support it. So I've got to build a cart one of these days when I get around to it. But you can see here, I got some steel. I will think probably put it somewhere in here with some support there on there, triangulation or whatever. I'll burn that thing in. Maybe a little triangle piece to support it, and then mount probably some angle iron up there with a couple bolts holding the wheel. So I got that to do yet. I'm probably gonna end up doing that tomorrow. I got to cut the plywood for the shelf tomorrow, so I'll finish that up. But so far, you can see I've got some oil and stuff gathered up, race ramps just in case. I'm going through as I'm using tools that I know I use on the car. I'm going ahead and putting them in these toolboxes. I'm going to pack more than I need, obviously, but I know the tools that I definitely need are the ones that I use today, obviously. Impact gun, lifesaver there, torque wrench, stuff like that, different sockets. The one other thing about the S550s is I found this, and I'm like, oh, thank God I found this, because if you ever try to fill a jug on an S550, you kind of need this thing to hold open the little trap door. So I made sure I have that in there as well. Little things that I would probably normally forget. But we'll continue this tomorrow, and we'll keep chugging along. All right, we're back. It's Thursday, so we're running out of time quick. We're leaving Saturday night, so right now you can see we're going ahead and swapping pulleys. We're going from the 3.0 on the 6 rib to a big O 375 to start with. I think that'll get us close to the 10.0 index that we need to be. We'll have to play with it from there and fine tune it. I have bigger and smaller, obviously. We've already got The tires swapped. We've got the trailer mostly done. I'm working out of little toolboxes when I do all this stuff that I'm doing, just to make sure I have some of the tools that I'm gonna need, especially for swapping tires out, doing pulley swaps, all that kind of stuff. Make sure I have even the little detailed stuff that I need. So we'll turn around and we'll look and see what we're doing right now. All right, so the pulley swap, I usually move the overflow tank just to get easier access. I do keep an array of belt sizes, so I don't have to adjust the idler. So you can use one belt and adjust the idler and compensate, for where you need to have your tensioner at. But it's easier just to have a belt assigned to each pulley. That way you don't have to make adjustments. The pulley swap's easy. You swap the pulley, swap the belt, you're done. You don't have to make any fine adjustments. You don't have to try to get your tensioner to where it's supposed to be. It just makes it a lot easier than trying to play with just using one belt. Belts are cheap. Buy a bunch of belts, one for each pulley, two for each pulley, whatever. And then it makes belt swaps and pulley swaps super easy. You don't have to try to fine tune it and play with it to get it right. You can see we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to breakfast this morning. After I do the pulley swap, we're going to hook the trailer on. We're going to go ahead and drive it with these on it, with the trailer. Make sure that we have enough spring tension for the tongue weight so that we're not going to actually get the car too low that we can't get over inclines or entryways for places. The trailer, you can see we got spare tire mounted. The jugs are in. I've used these cable locks just to secure the jugs to the spare tire so that they don't just run off on their own. If somebody wants to go to the trouble to remove the spare tire and everything else and take all the jugs with them at the same time, whatever. If it's worth that much to you, you can have them. But you can see we got everything in there. I spent yesterday building the shelves. I didn't get video of it. But you can see there's a shelf in there. It has a lip on the front and the back. So we can put race ramps, helmet, gear, tent. We got all that stuff in there. I do have an AC unit for the girlfriend. She's pregnant, and we're bringing Maddie, who's 4, with us. So we're going to set the tent up with an AC unit if it gets hot out so that they have somewhere comfortable to chill out while we're doing racing. Generator, obviously, pop up. I've got the street tires in here right now. I'll swap to those. I just want to make sure I had enough space for everything. So I use them as a placeholder. Still a lot of stuff to go in. As I said, I'm working out of toolboxes, trying to make sure I have all the tools I need. Stealing from the bigger box over here. I still got to put the air compressor in. There's going to be some other stuff that I come along that I see here that I'm going to need. I just haven't got to it yet. I do still have to paint where I welded yesterday, where I burnt that in. So welded that up. It is not going anywhere. I was going to put a brace in there, but it's not going anywhere. That steel is actually probably a lot thicker than the tongue even is. That's just what I had laying around. So yeah, it's looking good. Actually worked on the lift a little bit yesterday, got some of the other stuff done. It's pretty much done except for the wiring, but I've got to wire the shop before I get any more on that done. But the cables are tensioned, everything's installed, hydraulic power pack's installed. So it's slowly coming along. It's going to be some more time. We got one garage door installed yesterday. The guy's coming to do the other one today here. On the back side, we have to wait because I had to order some more tracking because it has to go up actually higher. I didn't want it hanging over the lifts, down low. So they're going to raise that up. It's going to be a higher lift door and go up the wall more. So that'll be good. Everything's coming along. Like I said, just slow and steady. There's a lot to do, but one step at a time. Race week in, 4 days? So trying to get all this stuff done first. All right, so I made an adjustment on the trailer. I moved the tire down because I think it was creating some airflow issues, but now it's about where the back of the wing is, so I think the airflow will come up and it'll maybe cut through the air a little smoother. But I didn't think about some other stuff. So this right here is where the handle goes, and if you'll notice, it hits the tire. So, oops. What I'm gonna do is take this nut and weld it on there. And then we can just use an impact to raise it up and down. Or, whatever we have, a ratchet, something else. Not the most convenient thing, but as much as we raise and lower this, it's probably not gonna be that big a deal. But yeah, oops. I guess that's the way things go sometimes. right, so there you go. It's all hooked up. We've done a little bit of driving today. Went and ate breakfast, came back, went and washed the car real quick. We ended up moving the spare tire down a little bit, just because it was so high that I was worried it was disrupting the airflow. You can see now that it comes off the foil maybe, and it kind of maybe hopefully misses it. But just looking for ways to maybe make it pull a little smoother. The car likes 8th gear out of 10. That's a 65. If we cruise up to about 70, 75, then it'll drop into 9th gear. But right now it looks like we're going to get about 10 miles a gallon. Without a trailer, I can get 18 if I baby it at 65. That's in 10th gear, obviously. That's just the 3rd overdrive. But not with the trailer. We're looking at 8th, 9th gear, 10, maybe 11 miles a gallon. Good news is we've got extra fuel. So it's looking pretty good. Labeled all my jugs. Yeah, pretty excited about it. Really excited to get on the road, really excited to get to the tracks, set everything up, see how everything does. We'll try and bring you along the way. Just to give you a closer look, you can see the wheel gap there. It's a little bigger than I would normally have, but it'll be good for the race setup. It'll give me plenty of squat if I need it. I still have a lot of room for separation. These little 275 60R15s though will tuck completely up in there, so I don't really have an issue with them at all. The ones that we were looking at running, oh, they're in the trailer, obviously are much bigger. The 325/30 R19, typically to run a 325 like that, you do have to add some negative camber or jack the car up. We're getting closer to our final setup in the trailer. I keep adding things I think we're gonna need. Trailer weight right now is about 1,600 pounds, give or take a few pounds. 150 of that is tongue weight, so that's not too bad. It does squat the car quite a bit, but I have those progressive springs, so that's to be expected. But right now, it tows pretty good. Like I said, we're towing in 8th gear, 9th gear if we're doing over 70, 75, but it should be fine. 1,600 pounds, 150 pound tongue weight. I moved a lot of the heaviest stuff to the rear just to compensate because we got a lot of fuel up here. So, you know, you figure, say 20 gallons or so about times 7 pounds per gallon, that's 140 pounds. Then you got the spare tire up here as well. So, as we use fuel, that'll get lighter. Not light enough to really affect the overall tongue weight, I don't think. We'll just have to see how it tows once we get empty fuel jugs. Hopefully we never get any empty fuel jugs and we can maintain enough fuel in the tank that we don't have to get that low. But we got the other door up today. So both the 12 by 12 doors are up, which is awesome. Once I get electrical ran, we'll run an opener for the one that we use the most over here. The 8 by 8, we're still waiting on some different tracks because I wanted the door to go up the wall and then over the roof. I didn't want it hanging out here in the midair, interfering with the lift. So that door has to be sprung differently, has to have different tracks, so it actually goes up the wall higher and then just barely comes up over the roof line. But anyways, that'll be coming here probably in the next couple days, and we'll be wrapping this up as far as the exterior goes. Finally have a place to actually secure something. And so that's pretty much going to wrap up the trailer build. Sorry I didn't get a lot of the interior stuff that maybe you guys wanted to see. I don't know. Everybody's trailer and the way that people organize is going to be different. But you at least got an idea of what we're doing. There's a lot of really cool setups on race week, drag week as well. There's guys that come up with some crazy ideas. And they actually devote a lot of time into thinking and building out both trailers or exterior things for their cars to mount stuff. So definitely keep an eye out on those cars. Keep an eye out for those cars. There's guys that put some really good work into it, and it's amazing some of the things that people come up with. So stick around and we'll see how race week goes, and you can follow us along. Thanks, guys.